Hello, how are ya? I am so cold today. It's like freezing 1 degree Fahrenheit right now in Colorado. And I'm trying to keep warm. It's terrible. Today I want to continue with the wrath of God. And I want to look at the New Testament today. My last video I looked at the Old Testament. It's kind of sad that not more people really watch my videos. Matter of fact, this video, the last video that I made it in German as well, and I had tons of viewers, I think 1,500. And it's kind of sad that my English videos do not get out there. I don't know what the problem is, if I'm just still blocked and censored. I may be flagged by YouTube. It's possible. I don't know. It could also be because there's just not very many people that are interested. But today I'm going to talk about some very important subjects, people. Very important. And again, I will refer to this movie that came out not too long ago. It's been a while now. Don't Look Up. And I hope in the meantime, I have already made videos about it, or one video about it, but I hope in the meantime many people saw it. It's interesting. And I hope you remember what the movie was about. It was about a comet coming and hitting the Earth. And the people were just doing busy thing. Nobody was interested in and actually being aware of what's coming. And except the elite, they were preparing, and they were trying to, of course, break up the comet, but they were not successful. And so the elite had, the government had a spaceship ready that would take them to another planet. And the rest of the world went down the drain. But of course, even the president's son was not taken, but was left behind on the Earth, but survived the catastrophic event. Interesting movie if you haven't seen it yet. But you know how they always do this predictive programming, or whatever they call it, where they put things, future events in movies. And I'm wondering lately why they chose that video and that topic. Now, people, years ago, I heard about this comet that is supposed to be coming around. Well, it's not around. We know exactly when he is coming. And it's is it April 2029? Friday the 13th? Like, wow, okay, how do they come up with that stuff? But anyways, that's what it is. I think April 13th, 2029. So, and if you thinking about, they had a female president, we can actually end up having a female president really during that time, okay, or pre-29, because I think that's when we have elections again. But I believe, when is the president? Well, yeah, maybe we could have a new president, but in case of these things, they may not have a new president. So yeah, it's interesting what kinds of facts we are actually seeing right now with this movie. Wait and see. Maybe we'll get a female president. Who is it? Haley. Christy Haley, I think, is running for president. But my topic today is really these comets, and it's specifically this Apophis, that's how they named it, Apophis comet, that's coming 2029. Now, when they first talked about that, I thought, oh, that's too long. That's not going to be the one that is going to cause, the wrath of God, or, spark the wrath of God. And yet, we have now really 5 more years to go. So we're coming close to that time. I'm not saying that is the comet that is going to plunge us into the wrath of God, but it's possible. It's becoming more and more possible. At first they were saying, oh, it's going to hit the earth, and then NASA said, oh no, it's not going to hit. But then again, we cannot really listen or believe what our government is saying, because they are hiding things. They're lying. They're always, constantly lying. So how do we know? But people, it's not only that comet that worries me. There's going to be, I think, 2 other comets that are going to, I think, coming in October. So I think we need to be watching out. One of those comets can only be seen for a short time because he usually hides behind the sun. And so there are comets that they cannot predict. So I think we're living in this time in which something can happen. Now we know when we are looking at the Bible, and my last video I clearly, talked about that, because I talked about the wrath of God last time. So when we look at Revelation, which I mentioned in my last video, and specifically Revelation 6, where the wrath of God is introduced, it's only introduced. It's described in Revelation 8, and that's what we're going to go today, through 11. But the introduction happens in chapter 6. And I'm trying to find it right now. So we can go to Revelation 6, and we can start with 12. It says, I watched as he opened this 6th seal. There was a great earthquake. The sun turned black like sackcloth, made of goat hair. The whole moon turned blood red, and the stars in the sky fell to earth. Now we see the same thing in Isaiah. In my last video, we read that. Who was it? Isaiah 13. And watch my last video. We see that. That is telling us the wrath of God is coming. It's an introduction. It's telling us, it's coming. And then you can see in 15, it says, and the kings of the earth, the princes, the generals, the rich, the mighty, and everyone else, both slaves and free, hid in caves among the rocks of the mountains. Now, I've said that for years in my videos, that this has been happening. People should know. People should know that this has been happening now for years. Even Zuckerberg makes it very public right now that he is building his bunker on Hawaii. And Bezos, not Bezos, it was, what's his name? The other guy that has all this money. Well, I'm sure it'll come to me. The guy with the Starlings and the Teslas and all that. So he is building his underground bunker too. But they're not the only ones. Everybody's doing it. They've been doing that for years. Okay? They've been doing that for years. Government has been preparing these bunkers for years. So we shouldn't be surprised. This has been coming. And why are they doing it? Because they knew something is coming, people. Now, I even believe, by seeing what's going on lately, is this great reset. Okay, well, everybody's saying, oh, the great reset is coming, right? By when? 2030? How close is that to 2029? Okay, so by 2030, they need to have everything in place. They're preparing something for 2030. Why? Because that is a marker, okay? A marker, that it could be in connection to some catastrophic events happening. Now, I mean major catastrophic events. Why? Because they're hiding in the bunkers. Okay? It says, they call to the mountains and the rocks fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of their wrath has come, and who can withstand it? The elite knows it. And they're hiding in the bunker, in bunkers, all over the world, people. They know something is coming, but they're hiding it. I have said, well, for many years, they said, oh, it's Planet X. It's this, 10th planet or whatever. Or some people then said, oh, it's maybe a binary twin star. Okay? There's so many things that did float out there. And at this point, we still don't know for sure. Then some people say, oh, there's going to be the pole shift. Now, that is very prevalent. Every 6,000 years or 3,000, some devastating event happens. And we're coming up to a pole shift. There's people that say that too. But I also think that these people cannot pinpoint when it's going to happen either. And I also believe that they're not taking things serious enough. I sometimes have a feeling these people are also being paid by the government. So that is very, very possible too. That the government does not want the public to know really what's coming. But if we open our eyes, there's pointers. Just like this movie, Don't Look Up. Well, Don't Look Up, it's about what? A comet. Well, then oh, this Apophis is coming, right? Even though it doesn't come until 29, but it comes pretty close. It's huge. Comes very close. Do your research. Like people I don't know if you know Tom Horn. Tom Horn just recently died, but he did a lot of gave a lot of information about this Apophis years ago. But again, Tom Horn is a false teacher when it comes to end times. I listened to some of the Tom Horn's presentations on this Apophis. Yeah, he's warning about this Apophis. It could be what he said, which we're going to look at today. But he doesn't understand, or he didn't understand, that when this happens, that the bride, the true believers, are gone. We're not going to be here when this happens. And that's why I don't think I have to worry about it. But I think people need to know what's coming, because we need to warn people, hey, this is coming. The wrath of God is coming. And you cannot escape it. You cannot escape the wrath of God unless you are being picked up. And in my last video, did I make it very clear that the bride or the people of God will be picked up. Jesus will come and pick those people up. It's just like I said, Noah and Lot. God didn't leave them. He didn't leave Lot in the city and destroyed the city. He took him out. He did not let Noah swim to what safety, whatever. No, he told him to build an ark. And God has, for each period of time, a different way to save its people. And this time, the way he saves his true believers is through taking them out into the rooms that he has prepared. And what are those? I believe they're a big, huge spaceship. Not space, but interdimensional ship or building. That's what I think. But going back, there is no doubt. It tells you right here that they are prepared. The elite is prepared. So people read this. Then, of course, in 7, we have this section where, and I have talked about that just recently, where these 144,000 are sealed, that they're going through the wrath. Matter of fact, I just read that just recently, that the ones that are sealed, they will not be harmed by the, I want to say the fifth trumpet. Okay, I believe it's the 5th trumpet. I just read it. These people that are sealed will not be harmed by these grasshoppers, or not grasshoppers, but these creatures that have stings. Okay? So we know that they will go through the wrath of God. They'll be here during the wrath of God. And then we see, of course, the multitude that is going to be in heaven. They're going to be in the New Jerusalem, and they're being hid there. And then in chapter 8, that is when the wrath of God starts. At first it says, you can read the whole thing. What does it start with? An earthquake. Okay, the end of verse 5. It says, and he hurled it on the earth, and there came pearls of thunder, rumbling, flashes of light, and an earthquake. Okay, so the wrath of God starts with an earthquake. Then he's telling you the first angel sounded, and his trumpet, and there came hail and fire mixed with blood, and he was hurled down on the earth, and a third of the earth was burned up, and a third of the trees were burned up, and all the green grass was burned up. Now, of course, what can that be? I'm not a scientist. If we talk to a scientist, I wonder what they would say that could cause that. It could be like a volcano, super volcano, which is happening here, and we have a super volcano here in Wyoming, Yellowstone. There is a super volcano. If that one goes off, would that cause such a devastation of hail mixed with fire and blood? Blood just means it's red, okay? It's not real blood, but at least that's what I'm assuming, okay? I'm assuming that. It's kind of hard to say what that is caused by, right? But it's going to happen. It's going to be really happening just like that. There's no doubt in my mind. It's not symbolic. This is going to happen. It's going to burn 1/3 of the earth. Now, if the green grass burns and the trees burn, the people don't burn, the houses burn. Okay? So it just depends on what third of the earth will that be poured out and what will be destroyed. Okay? Don't know. But it's going to be real. People's going to be real. And the second sounded his trumpet, and something like a huge mountain, all ablaze, was thrown into the sea. Now, what could that be? Something like a mountain, a huge mountain that was burning like a torch? Well, that's definitely a volcano. There's no doubt in my mind. Well, again, it doesn't say that. Why did John not use a volcano? Of course, they did have volcanoes during John's time. I don't know. Okay, could it be something else? But it's huge. It's a huge mountain, so it's not just a small little, what do you call it? Well, anything small. It's not anything small. It's something huge, like a huge mountain. You know how big a mountain is, and it's all ablaze. That means it's burning, and it's being thrown in the sea. So it must be maybe possibly a volcano that is next to the sea, falling to the mountain, and it will devastate 1/3 of the water. So the sea, the ocean. So 1/3 is usually, you could say like the Atlantic. Atlantic Ocean is probably 1/3 of the oceans. Okay? Could be around the Atlantic Ocean. And then you need to think, okay, where is a volcano around there? And where's a volcano that could maybe have, if it erupts, pour poisonous stuff into the ocean? It's going to happen. And it says it's going to, 1/3 of the sea turned blood, and 1/3 of the living creatures in the sea died, and 1/3 of the ships were destroyed. Okay? Symbolism, yes, probably with the 1/3. But again, it sounds pretty devastating to me. And then, of course, the one that I'm concerned about, and that points us to this meteor, is the 3rd angel sounded his trumpet, and a great star, blazing like a torch, fell from the sky on 1/3 of the rivers and on the springs of water, and the name of the star is wormwood. And 1/3 of the water turned bitter, and many people died from the waters that had become bitter. This is what I want to really focus on today, because that's what this movie, Don't Look Up, was telling us. And that's because of what's going on today, or even in 2029. So we know that is coming, and it could even come this year. Now, I'm going to put a link on the bottom. There's this guy, I don't remember what his name is, his channel name, Angry Astronaut or something like that, who has a lot of information on this comet that will come in 29. He's also giving information about some comets that are coming this fall in October. And he is saying that sometimes you can't predict these comets because they could be kicked out of their orbit, okay, through various things. And so they cannot be 100% predicted. So yeah, NASA can say right now, oh no, that Apophis is not going to hit the Earth. But then again, we don't know. They don't know. Again, since they don't want to tell us, they're going to hide it. They're going to hide it until the last minute. We can look up all we want. They're not going to tell us until the last minute. That's just bottom line. Because they want everybody peacefully to continue, and they want everybody to be controlled. Many people also say, oh, now why in the world are the governments allowing all these immigrants coming to our country? Because we've got that problem now, right? And we're thinking, why in the world are they doing that? We have the problem in Europe, that Europe is just totally overrun by immigrants. We have it right now with the United States. Why are they all coming? Why are they all encouraged to come north? Does it have something to do with this reset? And again, has that reset something to do with 2029? Of course, they're not going to say 2029 because then people think, ooh, what is happening 29? Oh, that Apophis is coming. So they're going to say, okay, we're going to make it safe and say, we're going to say 2030. Okay? Do you see the connection? I really have a feeling that this reset is connected to the wrath of God coming. Or they don't say wrath of God. I'm sure the elite are saying catastrophic events are coming. And everything has to do with that. And the elite will go into the bunkers. The rest of the people many will be killed. And so what do they have? They have a rest left over. Those people that didn't die. The more people you have on one spot, okay, the more people you have left over at the end. And those are the ones that they're going to use again to rebuild, or they think they're going to do that. They think they're going to use these people to rebuild. Because they need slaves. When they come out of the bunker, they need slaves to rebuild. And of course, people, that's not the way it's going to happen. If you know the Bible, and if you know my videos, you know that's not the way it's going to happen. This time, there's not going to be a reset. Well, there's going to be a reset, that's for sure. But it's not going to be a reset for the elite. Not this time. But they think they're going to have a reset, and they think they're going to come out on top. I watched the Hunger Games today. It's interesting, because you know what happened during the Hunger Games. I don't know if they had, any catastrophic events, but they had a rebellion. And that's why they ended up with the Hunger Games, because people rebelled. And so are the elite thinking the same way? Well, you know what? Something's going to happen, whether it's rebellion, whether it's revolution, whether it's, of course, in connection with the devastating events. And they have to plan how we're going to come out of that on top. Because that's exactly already what they're thinking about. How are we going to come out on top, and we're not going to be the losers? And how they can use the people at the end again as slaves. They have to have total control over them in order to rebuild. Because these people will be slaves. Because rebuilding takes a lot of manpower, and they will not feed these people very good, but they will squeeze labor out of them. Yeah, I can see that that's what they're thinking. But what is going to happen? After the wrath of God, the old system will be over with. The old system will be defeated. They think they will come out on top, and they will not come out on top. Because Jesus is going to be the one who's going to be ruling, not Satan anymore. The person that they bow down to the whole time to be on top is gone. He'll be locked up. And who is now ruling is Jesus, and he will be ruling totally different. He will not exploit people. He will not use them as slaves, but everybody's going to have to provide for themselves and work for their food. And the food that they're going to, produce, everybody needs to produce their own food. They're going to start from scratch. And everybody's going to start from scratch. I don't think the elite will come out on top. It's not going to happen. But they think they do, and that's why they're preparing. Now, like I said, I watched these things by Tom Horn and many others. Should I say Tom Horn and Associates? Or Tom Horn and Friends? And there's several people that Tom Horn and Friends are. They're still alive. Some already died. I have to admit there's even some that died. But anyways, they will have to go through this mess. Why? Because they are stuck in false doctrine. Because if they would know the Bible, they would know that you have a choice to not have to go through that. Now, okay, if you want to be one of the 144,000 sealed that have to go through it, I guess that's the way it is. You can choose that. But I would rather be in the rooms that Jesus prepared, and I'd rather would hide there for a little while until the wrath has passed. Again, Isaiah 26:19 through 21. But people, I'm coming to an end right now. Here's my kitty. She was just poking up her head. Please spread this news. I cannot do it on my own. And again, maybe it's possible that we just don't have very many people anymore in the United States that want to hear the truth. It's very possible. Okay, it's not just, oh yeah, YouTube is censoring, or YouTube is flagging me, or whatever. Maybe it's just exactly that. People are not interested in hearing the truth. But again, I am very certain and positive that Jesus or the Holy Spirit will lead everybody to my videos who need to hear it. So anyways, I'm coming to an end. Let the Holy Spirit guide you always.